Have you ever felt trapped in your thoughts, replaying every detail over and over until it feels like you're drowning in your own mind? You're not alone. Overthinking can take over your day, making it hard to focus, making decisions seem impossible, and leaving you feeling drained and helpless. Whether it's worrying about something in the past or fearing what might happen in the future, our minds can sometimes feel like they're on a never-ending loop of thoughts. I've been there, just like you, struggling with overwhelming thoughts, unsure how to calm down. There was a time not too long ago when I couldn't shake the feeling that I was constantly overthinking everything, my work, my relationships, even what I was going to have for dinner. I would lie awake at night, replaying every conversation, every decision I'd made, wondering if I had done the right thing. It felt exhausting, and most days I didn't know how to get out of that mental spiral. Over time, I realized that overthinking wasn't helping me. It was holding me back from truly living, from enjoying the present moment, and from finding peace in my own mind. In this video, we're going to explore how overthinking affects us, and more importantly, how you can break free from it and calm your mind. If you've ever felt stuck in a loop of thoughts, stay tuned. You're about to learn some tools that can help you regain control and find peace. Overthinking. It's something we've all experienced, but what does it really mean? At its core, overthinking is the act of dwelling on a thought, idea, or decision excessively, often to the point where it becomes overwhelming and unproductive. It's not just thinking deeply, it's thinking too much without taking any meaningful action. You see, there's a difference between healthy reflection and unhealthy overthinking. Healthy reflection is when you take time to think things through, learn from past experiences, and make well-informed decisions. It's about gaining clarity and taking action when necessary. On the other hand, overthinking is when those thoughts start to spiral, when they keep coming back over and over again, without leading to any solution. You might find yourself questioning your choices, doubting yourself, and getting stuck in a loop where no progress is made. Instead of finding clarity, you just feel more and more confused. So, what causes this kind of overthinking? It can stem from many places: fear of the future, constant worry about the past, or simply not having enough clarity when it comes to making decisions. For example, you might worry about what's going to happen next week, next month, or even years down the road. That fear of the unknown can take over, causing your mind to race endlessly with what-ifs and worst-case scenarios. Or perhaps you're stuck replaying past mistakes, reliving old conversations, or wondering if you could have done something differently. That constant rumination can trap you in the past, making it hard to move forward. Another major contributor to overthinking is a lack of clarity. When you're faced with a big decision or unclear direction in life, your mind tries to make sense of it all. But instead of finding answers, you end up more confused and paralyzed, unable to take action. And let's not forget the external pressures. Stress from work, family expectations, career pressures, and societal standards. All of these external factors can weigh heavily on our minds, pushing us to overanalyze every choice and every move. These pressures can make us second-guess ourselves and spiral deeper into overthinking. Ultimately, overthinking is a cycle that holds us back from living fully in the present moment. And while it may feel natural, it doesn't have to control you. In the next part, we'll dive into how to stop this cycle and calm your mind. To understand why overthinking has such a powerful grip on us, let's take a look inside the brain. When we start to overthink, the brain reacts in ways that make it even harder to stop. At the core of this reaction is the amygdala, the part of the brain responsible for processing emotions, especially fear. When we start worrying about the future or rehashing past events, the amygdala gets activated, sending signals that make us feel anxious, fearful, or even panicked. Here's where things get tricky. When this fear response is triggered over and over, the brain's stress response kicks in, releasing a hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is our body's natural response to stress, but when it's constantly elevated due to prolonged overthinking, it can have negative effects on both our mental and physical health. Prolonged high cortisol levels can impair our ability to think clearly and focus, making it difficult to make decisions, solve problems, or even perform daily tasks. This constant state of stress can lower our productivity and drain our energy, leaving us feeling mentally exhausted. But it doesn't stop there. Overthinking also creates a vicious cycle in the brain. One thought leads to another, then another, until it feels like you're stuck in a loop. The more you overthink, the more your mind gets tangled in an endless chain of thoughts, making it harder to break free. This cycle not only makes it difficult to focus or relax, but it can also negatively impact your mental well-being, creating a constant state of anxiety and stress. Over time, the loop grows stronger, feeding itself and making it feel almost impossible to escape. But here's the good news. Understanding this cycle is the first step toward breaking it. In the next section, we'll explore practical ways to calm your mind and stop this cycle of overthinking. Overthinking might seem like a harmless habit, but the truth is, it can have a profound impact on every aspect of our lives. Let's start by looking at how it affects our mental health. Have you ever felt like you were spiraling? Like the thoughts in your head just kept coming and you couldn't get away from them? That feeling of being trapped in your own mind. That's overthinking in full force. When we overthink, it often leads to anxiety and stress. Our minds are constantly racing, playing out worst-case scenarios, and trying to predict the future. This constant state of worry triggers our body's fight-or-flight response, keeping us in a heightened state of alertness. Over time, this can lead to burnout, and for some it can even develop into depression, as the overwhelming thoughts chip away at your emotional well-being. It can also paralyze us when it comes to decision-making. Have you ever been stuck, unable to make a decision because you're afraid of making the wrong choice? This is called analysis paralysis. Overthinking floods our minds with so many possibilities, so many outcomes, that we get stuck in a loop of indecision. We second-guess ourselves, weigh every option endlessly, and before we know it, we've done nothing at all. And it's not just about making decisions for ourselves. Overthinking also has a huge impact on our relationships, whether personal or professional. When we overthink, it often leads to miscommunication. We assume the worst, create scenarios in our minds that haven't even happened, and project these worries onto the people around us. This causes unnecessary stress, misunderstandings, and strain on our connections with others. Whether it's a partner, a friend, or a colleague, overthinking can create a barrier between you and the people you care about. The first step in overcoming overthinking is recognizing when it's happening. Awareness is key. Often we don't even realize we're trapped in the cycle. But once we can identify it, we can stop the spiral before it takes control. Now that you've recognized your overthinking, the next step is shifting your focus. One powerful tool for this is mindfulness. Let's try a quick mindful breathing exercise. Take a deep breath in, hold it for a moment, and now exhale slowly. Focus only on your breath as it moves in and out. Feel your chest rise and fall. If your mind starts to wander, gently guide it back to your breath. Another simple technique is called the 5-4-3-2-1 method, which helps bring your mind back to the present. Start by naming 5 things you can see around you, then 4 things you can touch, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This simple act of grounding helps pull you out of your thoughts and into the moment. Sometimes, shifting focus can also mean giving your mind a break. Take a walk, engage in a hobby, or step outside to connect with nature. Distraction isn't about ignoring the problem, it's about giving your mind the space it needs to reset. Next, set limits on your thinking. One technique I found helpful is giving myself a set amount of time to reflect on a problem. For example, I'll say, I'll think about this for 10 minutes and after that I'll let it go. Write it down, think it through, but give yourself a hard stop. You might be surprised at how liberating it feels to know that you've given yourself permission to move on after a certain point. Sometimes, the hardest part is simply taking action. Overthinking often stems from the fear of making mistakes or not having all the answers. But here's the thing, action is more important than perfection. Instead of waiting for the perfect solution, start with small, concrete actions. Take one step, no matter how minor it may seem. It could be making a phone call, sending an email, or researching a solution. The act of doing something, anything, moves you forward and breaks the cycle of overthinking. Finally, self-care plays a crucial role in calming an overactive mind. Exercise, yoga, or even just stretching can help release tension in the body, which in turn helps reduce stress and anxiety. And don't forget the importance of rest. Getting enough sleep and fueling your body with proper nutrition supports your mental health, making it easier to manage your thoughts. When we take care of our bodies, we also take care of our minds. Overcoming overthinking isn't about being perfect. It's about practicing these small steps consistently. By recognizing when you're overthinking, shifting your focus, setting limits, taking action, and prioritizing self-care, you can break the cycle and bring calm back into your life. Remember, you have the power to regain control, one step at a time. One of the most common traps of overthinking is living in the past. We all have moments we wish we could change, regrets that seem to haunt us, or unresolved issues that keep resurfacing. It's easy to get stuck, replaying those moments over and over in our minds. But here's the truth. Those thoughts only hold us back. By focusing on what we can't change, we allow the past to control us. Overthinking keeps us tethered to things that are long gone, and it prevents us from moving forward. The reality is that we have no power over the past, but we have the power to shape our present and future. The key to breaking free from the past is acceptance. Accepting that mistakes were made, that relationships didn't work out, or that situations unfolded differently than we hoped, is the first step in releasing the hold they have on us. You can't change the past, but you can control how it affects you today. The power lies in your perspective. When you let go of the idea that things should have been different, you make room for growth and healing. I remember a time when I couldn't stop overthinking past decisions. I kept wondering if I had made the right choices, if I could have done things differently. But one day, I realized that the what-ifs were just holding me in place. I decided to forgive myself, accept that I did the best I could at the time and let go. That moment of acceptance was freeing. It allowed me to focus on the now, rather than being trapped in the past. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It means releasing the emotional weight so you can move forward. Every day is a new opportunity to make better choices, learn from the past, and grow into the person you're meant to be. So remember, the past does not define you. You have the power to choose how it influences your life today. By accepting what was and choosing to live in the present, we free ourselves from the cycle of overthinking and open the door to new possibilities. The journey forward begins with forgiveness of others and ourselves. Have you ever found yourself overthinking because you desperately wanted to control everything around you? Maybe you tried to anticipate every outcome, or you wished you could change things that are beyond your control. The truth is, overthinking often arises from this need to control situations that we simply can't change. When we hold on too tightly to the need for control, we create tension in our minds. We constantly worry about what might happen, how we can make things go our way, or if we are making the right choices. But here's the paradox. By trying to control everything, we lose control of our peace. The real power comes when we release that control. Surrendering doesn't mean giving up. It means accepting that some things are out of our hands, and that's okay. When we let go, we open ourselves to clarity and peace. We free our minds to focus on what we can influence, and that's when we find the space to breathe. Living in the present moment is one of the most powerful tools we have to overcome overthinking. So often, we get caught up in our worries about the past or fears of the future. But the present is all we truly have. By practicing mindfulness, we can tune into the here and now, embracing each moment without judgment. Whether it's taking a deep breath, feeling the warmth of the sun, or simply noticing the sounds around us, mindfulness helps us reconnect to what's real, right now. When we stop chasing the future or dwelling on the past, we start to notice the beauty in the present. The more we live in the moment, the less power our worries and fears have over us. We become free to enjoy what's happening right now, to feel gratitude for the small things, and to experience life more fully. So, the next time you find yourself overthinking, try releasing control and coming back to the present. Breathe in deeply, embrace where you are, and remember that the only moment you can truly control is the one you're living right now. Alright, let's quickly recap the steps to help you stop overthinking and calm your mind. First, recognize when you're overthinking and accept it. Then, shift your focus with mindfulness and grounding exercises. Set limits on your thinking and give yourself permission to stop. Take action, even if it's imperfect, and don't forget the power of self-care to support your mental well-being. Remember, overthinking is a habit you can break, and each small step you take matters. It's completely okay to take things one step at a time. Overcoming overthinking doesn't happen overnight, but with patience and practice, you'll notice positive changes. Be kind to yourself, you're doing better than you think. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Share your challenges with overthinking or the techniques that help you stay calm in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who could use these tips. Take care and remember, you've got this.